Welcome to the Fiscal Physical Podcast. Join us each week as we sit down with the founder of Alchemy Wealth Management and author of Your Fiscal Physical, Ryan Nelson. Tune in to gain valuable insights and practical tips as we simplify complex financial concepts into digestible lessons. From budgeting to retirement planning, this podcast is your go-to resource for mastering financial literacy.
Welcome, everybody. This week's episode of the Fiscal Physical Podcast. I am here with the founder of Alchemy Wealth Management, Ryan Nelson. Ryan, what's the good word on your end, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing well today. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. Just ready to dive into this week's episode. Hopefully, share some stuff with the listeners here. And today we're going to talk about, as this title of the episode is eloquently named, "The Art of the Downside: What Short Selling Really Is." So, I'm excited about this. First off, I have a question for you, though. Have you ever seen the movie called The Big Short?
Yeah, I think so. That's with those actors?
Yeah. yes. Steve Carell is like one of the guys. Like, I think Christian Bale is the other guy, which is he played Batman. But anyway, it's a movie about the 2008 financial crisis and like what led up to it. And it's a really interesting movie, and they kind of break it down similar to how you kind of do. They make it really easy, and they use like analogies that most people would understand.
Nice. About
like what led to like the crisis and the housing issues and such too. So if you guys haven't checked that out, we're not sponsored by them, but I'd recommend. Like it's kind of cool. But anyway, I want to know from your point of view here. What actually shorting a stock or short selling or shorting a company, like what that actually means nowadays, and pros, cons. Like how would you describe this? I suppose.
Yeah. So it's actually probably more straightforward than most people think. And yeah, probably a lot simpler than I think a lot of people think.
I love that.
Yeah. So anytime we buy a stock, we're effectively betting that the company or the price will go up in value, right? So we buy Apple computers at $100 a share. We're hoping it will go up to like $120. We can sell it, make our $20, right? A short sell is the opposite. It's effectively a bet that the price will go down.
Mm-hmm.
So you're betting, if Apple Computers is $100 now, you're hoping it drops. So the way that it actually works is you're going to borrow the share. Then you're going to sell that borrowed share. And then at today's price, so you're borrowing that share, you're selling it today. Then you're going to wait and hope that you were right and that stock price drops. Then you're going to buy back that share at now that hopefully cheaper price.
Okay.
And then sell it back to, or give it back to the person you borrowed from. So again, if I was to do this, like if we were to use an example here, let's again pretend, company XYZ is at $100 a share. So you have company XYZ. Let's pretend I borrow it from you.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to get company XYZ back to you. One share. I just borrowed one share from you. I have to get you back one share. So it's at $100 a share now. So I sell it. Perfect. I now have $100. I now sit around. I hope that company XYZ drops. Let's pretend it drops to $80. Mm-hmm. Perfect. I now buy it back at $80. I give you back your share. I say, here's the one share that I borrowed from you. Here's your one share. But I remember I sold it for $100. I bought it back at $80. Mm-hmm. So I'm left with $20 of profit, right? So when it went from 100 to 80, I made $20 by borrowing it from you, selling it, buying it back and giving it back to you. So that's effectively what shorting a stock is. You're usually not, I don't think ever borrowing from another individual. You're going to typically borrow from your brokerage, the brokerage company that you're working with. But the concept is identical.
Okay.
So that's how a short sale works. So when would you short a stock? Effectively, you would do it if you believe the company is overvalued or like in trouble, financial trouble or something, and you think the price is going to decline. Or if you want to hedge risk in your portfolio. So there would be a way to reduce some of your risk in your portfolio if you have a lot of exposure to a certain company. And then hedge funds could use it to express negative views or, again, balance out other positions, effectively hedge some risk there. But so this is a pretty risky process.
Yeah.
So if we think, again, if I just buy company XYZ for $100, what's the absolute most money I can lose?
$100.
$100. I buy it at $100. If it went to absolutely zero and I got nothing back from it, I'd lose $100. And even that's pretty unrealistic, right? Typically, there's going to be some sort of value there, but in theory, I could lose $100. Now, if I short a company, so let's say what's the most I could lose if I short a company? So if this take the same company XYZ and I short the company that's worth now $100 a share,
I guess you could lose $100. Like, could you?
So what's interesting is, so let's say I borrow that company from you at $100 and I sell it, so I now have $100 of profit. But I was wrong. The company didn't decline; it goes up in value, so it goes up to $150. Now I have to go buy it for $150 to give back to you.
Yeah.
So I just lost $50.
Sure.
But what if it went to $200?
Sure.
$300. I just lost $100. Yeah. So what if it goes to $500?
Yeah.
I borrowed it from you for $100. I sold it, or I borrowed one share from you. I sold it for $100. If that stock goes to $500, I only have $100 from a sell. I have to get you your share back though. So I have to go buy it for $500. I just lost $400.
Whew. Yeah.
Right? What if the stock really takes off? It really starts running up and goes up 10x or something crazy. Now you can imagine. So there's no theoretical end to how much you could lose in a short sale, right? And in that example, that was per share we're talking about. Right. So usually people aren't doing this with one share; they're doing it with tens or thousands, tens of thousands. So it can be a very risky proposition.
Yeah.
So when you buy a stock normally, the most you can lose is your original investment. When you do short selling, there's actually no limit on how much you could lose. You could end up losing a lot more than really all of the money you have.
Yeah.
You could actually go into debt by short selling. You could lose all of the value you currently have and actually owe more. So there's something. Have you ever heard of a short squeeze?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
no. Maybe I should go back and watch a movie on it.
Yeah.
With some actors.
So in some extreme situations, this is kind of maybe a fun aside, but so there's these short sellers can get hit with a short squeeze. So do you remember GameStop in 2021?
Absolutely,
so basically that was a short squeeze. So on Reddit, right, a bunch of people kind of banded together. They identified that there were a bunch of shorts on GameStop. So imagine, again, I have this short on GameStop. So the brokerage, so I borrowed it from a brokerage. Now there's certain limitations. The brokerage will let me borrow this fund, but only up to certain amounts. So I have to have certain money with them, and the brokerage will call this back. And eventually they'll say, if they start to see my account balance get like too low or proportionally, they'll say, hey, we need that share back today.
Right.
We don't trust you.
Yeah.
We don't trust it. It is getting to a point where we don't trust you're going to be able to pay us back.
Yeah.
So you owe us today. Get this share back to us, whatever, effectively now. And so then now if I bought company X, or if I did a short on company XYZ at $100, I sold it at 100, it's now gone up to 200. I don't want to have to buy it at 200.
Right.
But if the brokerage is forcing me to, then I got to go buy it at 200. Give them their share back, right? And guess what? By me buying it at 200, that helps increase the price. So now all these people, what you end up seeing is you can put a short squeeze. So all these people have shorted the stock. Now people start buying it up because they see it's shorted. Now all the people who shorted are forced to go buy it, which causes the price to go even higher. Which caused other people who shorted it to buy it, which causes it to go higher, which causes other people who shorted it to buy it, which causes it to go higher. That's what happened with GameStop back in 2021. That was a short squeeze. And so it just caused the stock to go so high.
Oh, it's skyrocketed.
And then what you also saw, then all these people sort of got taken advantage of. They bought it. They're like, oh, this is crazy. So they're buying into GameStop, not even realizing what's happening while it's at the top. Of course, it wasn't actually worth that much.
Right.
People got forced into buying it, and then they buy in at the top and they lose a ton of money, right? So that was a very unfortunate circumstance for most retail investors who tried to kind of capture that. Another reason why you probably don't want to if it sounds too good to be true, it might be, and like you really want to understand what's happening behind the scenes. But anyway, so that's an example of a short squeeze, and it doesn't happen like all that often, but it's that buying pressure can push the prices higher and higher and higher, creating a more of a kind of spiral there. But it's kind of funny because it's opposite of normal. It's the price going way high as opposed to the price falling. So yeah, kind of interesting, but that's a short squeeze. Really bad for all the people who shorted it. Theoretically good for the people who own it outright. But again, it's kind of just artificially inflated value. It's not the company actually isn't worth any more value. It's just these technical thing happening in the market that's required.
Exactly. That's pushing it up or down or whatever. So that's interesting. I remember back in 2021 when that GameStop thing was happening, like all these like memes and things were just getting thrown around. Like they're like, oh, like hold the line and like diamond hands and all these different things. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. Like, and I like researched it and I like looked at it and I was just like, but at that point, GameStop was, freaking $150 a share.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. This thing is like traded at like, like 100, or like it's traded at like $30 a share normally, or $5 a share. I can't even remember what it was, but like it was just like, I was like, what happens when it like goes back down? Like, dude, I was like, at some point I'm gonna have to like, I don't know what to do with this kind of thing. So I was like, I think I'm better just sitting this one out. Like,
I mean, unfortunately, I think just like you, most people who participated in that didn't fully understand it. And again, that's like sad, but it was people, again, I would explain what they were. Most people who got in on that were more like gambling than investing.
Definitely. Yeah.
They didn't understand what was happening. They saw or read something that sounded very attractive, wanted to somehow take advantage of it, kind of get that shortcut. And most of them ended up getting burned.
Right.
So it is unfortunate, but nonetheless, hopefully this empowers somebody else, maybe not fall victim to that at some point in the future.
Absolutely. No, I think that's important. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reality is, sort of quote unquote normal investors are going to very rarely short a stock.
Okay.
Because there's, like I said, there's like outside, there's effectively unlimited amounts of risk, right?
Absolutely. It's incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very high risk. It can be highly complex. There's a lot of emotional pressure. So for most people, right, the long term, you just want to invest in quality companies. It's going to be far safer and a more productive strategy than trying to do something like this. And the reality is, most of the time, most stocks trend upwards.
Right.
Right. So in general, most stocks go up over time. And so betting on them going down has historically been a bad investment, right? So shorting can be done efficiently. There are times where you can do it to reduce risk of other holdings. But again, that's a very complex strategy that we're not talking about on this quick podcast here.
Awesome.
So the big short, basically, the movie you're talking about that had to play that was during the 2008 housing crash. Yeah. So it's the same thing, but what they were shorting in the Big Short was not individual stocks; it was mortgage-backed securities.
Gotcha.
But it was the same concept. But so effectively, what they did was they shorted these mortgage-backed securities. So they borrowed mortgage-backed securities, sold them. So sold them for a lot of money, call it. Waited for the market to crash. Was able to buy them back at these very low prices, and they made the difference, right? So they effectively profited from the market declining because they shorted it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
There are some common misconceptions, I think, that you hear out there. So they'll say like short sellers destroy companies. Like if everybody shorts a company, they destroy it.
Right.
That's just simply not true. That doesn't. In fact, typically it's going to just not really affect the company, I would say, one thing short selling can do is it can help with almost market corrections. Like if there's fraud or something, it can help identify like if there's some sort of fraud, if a bunch of people start shorting a certain company or something. So there can actually be some positives there. But yeah, short sellers definitely don't control the market. They're a tiny, tiny, tiny minority compared to long holders, people buying just normal stocks and holding it for the long term. So effectively our takeaway would be short selling is like an advanced strategy that carries unlimited downside. It's not a tool for long-term retirement planning. For most people, the right process would be owning a diversified investment portfolio and letting compounding, right, time do the work. So we've said this saying 100 times. We'll probably say it 100 more times, but time in the market beats timing of the market. Short selling is kind of a market timing play. You're hoping the market goes down over the short period of time. So again, time in the market is going to beat timing of the market. So for the vast majority of people, they should just buy a diversified, nice, again, kind of boring, steady, proven portfolio and not, short selling is going to be that flashy bells and whistles thing that probably is going to result in, if you don't know what you're doing, is more likely than not to result in negative results.
Awesome. That was great, Ryan. That was super, super, super helpful with that in terms of kind of what that is, when it's leveraged, when it shouldn't be leveraged. And as always we say on this, make sure you talk to your financial advisor before you potentially are doing anything like this, and ensure that whatever decision you're making is right for you, to say the least there. But awesome, man. We'll go ahead and pause real quickly here, and then we'll be back. Everybody hang tight with us for the personal section.
And now, to put the personal in personal finance.
Welcome back, everybody, to this side of the Fiscal Physical podcast, the personal section here. I'm still with Mr. Ryan Nelson, and Ryan, I got a question for you here, and
let's hear it.
I'm curious to see what your answer is, because sometimes I'll ask you this, you're like, no, I really enjoy what I do, but so my question is, if you could swap jobs with anybody for 1 week, who would it be, or what would it be? Like, what would you swap to? What industry would you go into, or what job would you take over?
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of interesting to be do something for the Packers,
sure,
the Green Bay Packers, and do something in like the coaching realm. I think that, I think maybe like a decade ago, I was like of this impression that like, man, these people are like geniuses, and there's billions of dollars of resources, and like they like know, like have all like unlimited resources. Mm-hmm. And I think I now believe their resources aren't as unlimited as I once thought. Mm-hmm. And a lot of, quite honestly, probably a lot of the best coaches in the world are doing like high school, like coaching some high school team or something, right? Sure. And they've never made it into the NFL because it's such a small pool that can make it there. And with like the nepotism in the industry, which isn't all bad per se, but like it's hard to crack into the league, so to speak, right? I think it would just be interesting to see behind the scenes, see how much they really do know, how much they're just winging it, but also see if there is any opportunity to create any value there.
No, I think that, and it's funny just for the listeners out there, like I ask these questions, but like we don't get to see each other's answers or what we're going to say or anything like that. It's so funny you said that, because I'm exactly the same. I'd like to be in a fly on the wall, or just even, I don't know, an equipment manager or something like that, like for like an NFL team, to see what goes into the week of preparing for a game.
Yeah, that'd be
like,
cool.
What does it look like when you fly home, or you finish your game on Sunday? What is your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Like, what is the preparation like during the season? Like, what do you actually, like, what resources can you draw on? Because I read something one time that it talked about like that Monday after a game, like most players that's a recovery day. Right. They're just like getting so beat up like in the game, like, but for coaches and such, they're already game planning the next one. So I think like being a quality assistant or something like that, for like, which probably doesn't pay very well for those kind of things. So like I also think I'm like, maybe I should be like, work out something for a week where I can make a ton of money. But I do think it'd be fascinating to see what goes in behind like the scenes of even could be an MBA or professionals, just something like that, to where like you're like, what do you guys actually do? Like, how do you prepare? Like, what does Wednesday practice look like? And a lot of those coaches that are really, really good, like your Bill Belichick's and back in the day, like had this regiment that they were just like, cool, this works, we're doing exactly this.
Sure.
This is what we're doing. And so to see like what works, what doesn't work, I think would be super fascinating to see too. So
yeah. And a week would probably be plenty of time, because I think those guys are working 7 days a week, like 15, 16 hours a day. So a week would probably be plenty.
Probably. It's a reason why, like, you think about, like, people talk about like, oh, the NFL's like only 18 weeks, and you're like, well, actually, like, if you got your preseason, you got your summer camps, you got your, if you make the postseason, you could be playing into like February or something like that too. So you get like, everybody talks about, I see like, after coaches finish or players finish, they go to Cancun or do these extravagant trips, and I'm like, good, you guys have earned it. Like, you're working like those. I know that like
tough job.
Like Matt LaFleur, like the coach of the Packers, like he works. He talked about like how much he works and how much he prepares, and like that just meticulous like preparation for all these things. Very impressive. So anyway, I'd love to see that. I'd love to also hear what our listeners, what job they would switch for a week there, and see what actually happens, and what I bet you we get some pretty good responses from that. So let us know, everybody. These episodes drop every Tuesday. We'd love to hear your feedback. And Ryan, appreciate the insight as always, my man. And I'll leave it to you to play us out.
As always, stay the course.
Thank you for joining us for the Fiscal Physical Podcast. Until next time, happy listening. And as always, stay the course. If you have a question or topic suggestions, please email us at podcast@alchemywealth.com. If you enjoyed today's discussion, subscribe to the podcast to ensure you never miss an episode. And consider leaving us a rating and review on your favorite platform. This helps other listeners like you find the show. For more resources, you can visit Alchemy Wealth Management's website at www.alchemywealth.com or find your Fiscal Physical, the book, on Amazon. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention that personal finance is just that, personal. Please don't take anything we say as advice. The preceding content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not an offer or a solicitation, nor should it be construed or relied upon for tax, legal, or investment advice. It doesn't consider your personal financial situation or objectives and may not be suitable for you.